Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital, where we are welcoming back our regular contributor, CEO of CCP Digital, Chris Pulley. And today he is joined by Eben Matthews, co-founder of Macroverse.world, a multi-format entertainment company. And as per his bio, he is a super humble, creative genius. I love it. Now, at Macroverse, their focus is on story-driven content designed to connect with audiences and fans. The Macroverse app propelled comics into the digital age and focuses on storytelling crafted for mobile devices. You're going to experience digital comics, collectibles, and storytelling on the blockchain. Today, we're chatting about the coming of Web 3.0, entertainment studios entering the space, what role blockchain plays in the future of entertainment, and how Web 3.0 is creating opportunities for global participation in the entertainment industry. We'll also chat IP rights for creator, past and future. Now, we all know that Web3 promises to be a game changer in the evolution of the internet. At its core, Web 3.0 is a vision for a more open, decentralized, and secure internet, which is enabled by advances in technologies like blockchain and machine learning. Now, if you really think of it, the applications seem limitless, especially in the context of the entertainment industry. That's my strength. And here to chat some more are my friends Chris Pulley and Eben Matthews. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zen. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Okay, Eben, I'll start with you, my honorary guest. Although the extent of Web3's impact on the future of entertainment is really yet to be seen, it's poised to critically alter several key aspects of the industry. So let's chat changing incentive structures. Now, there's compelling evidence that Web3 is going to give rise to new incentive structures for entertainers and their fans. Now, increasingly, fans and other audience members really want to be active participants in the entire entertainment creation process, basically from idea to distribution. And thanks to NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which are at the heart of Web3, fans can realize this objective and become long-term investors in an entertainer's success. Talk to me about how these NFTs create new lucrative incentive structures for already popular entertainers.
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I think it speaks to a broader, thing that's kind of happening both in the crypto world and the NFT world, but also just across what we've seen happen over the past decade in web and social media and kind of creator economy, that we've all kind of seen rise. Where just in Web 2.0, there was the first kind of opportunity for people to chart their own path, to kind of create their own audience, to find ways in some cases to monetize those audiences, whether it's influencer culture or being able to take something and develop it as a YouTube series and ultimately turn it into a quote unquote, real TV show. So there have been those sorts of opportunities that have come out of the last kind of shift in technology and culture. But now what we're talking about is a massive change where the people that are actually at the heart of creating these things and then making them become something that touches culture and propagates out into the world, that the people that participate at every level benefit from the success of the thing they're participating in. So you said participation. We like to think of this, especially like in the context of what we're building at Macroverse, we kind of think of it as the participation economy, where ownership is a piece of that, but participation is the key that unlocks kind of every level of how you can benefit from the success of these different projects.
I love that. The participation economy. You should coin that and make it exclusive to Macroverse. Now, this jerks
we're trying.
Yeah, this jerks my memory. In March of 2021, this is a great point. An art NFT from entertainer Lindsay Lohan was purchased for $17,000. Now, the seller immediately put it back for sale and made $78,000, essentially evidence that not only creators, super fans are buying their NFTs, but that, this is for an investment opportunity. And new platforms are also helping to change incentive structures that have long been misaligned in the entertainment industry. A great one comes to mind, Royal, which enables users to purchase shares of songs through its marketplace and earn royalties as the music that they have invested in gains popularity. So that's an interesting one. Chris, this one's for you. We've talked often about DAOs. So decentralized autonomous organizations are also quickly emerging. And DAOs are these collective decision-making bodies that really enable entertainers to interact directly with fans and influencers to become front seat participants in the process of creating and promoting an entertainment project. A great example, Dreams Never Die Records, which is led by the folks behind Before the Data, which has helped discover entertainers like Billie Eilish, is one of several newly launched decentralized autonomous organizations aimed at entertainers. Talk to me about the importance of these DAOs as you are seeing it from behind the scenes at your digital marketing analytics agency.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zen. It's interesting that the decentralized autonomous organization is just another business entity with a specific purpose in mind. And so from an entertainment perspective, it's a collective that says we're looking to invest in this certain type of IP. And as IP is presented, then the DAO can all vote and make decisions together. And it's just a new way to participate in, let's say, the investment side of almost any industry utilizing the DAO format. But in the entertainment industry in particular, it's interesting because it's such an attractive industry and it's so difficult to enter. And it's got a lot of boundaries around it in its current industrial format. And that's why I'm so excited about Macroverse, is because I really don't have a creative bone in my body. And I would never have imagined myself in the entertainment industry. But today, with the participation economy, I'm able to make investments into these NFT characters, offer them out to a global audience that would like to use my characters to create stories with. And then I'm basically sponsoring a young creator, a creator from anywhere in the world that wants to participate. And if their character enters into the Macroverse storylines, they make money and I get to participate with them as well. It's super exciting, both from the DAO perspective and the different ways to participate.
Beautiful. It's a win-win for all, I say.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Let's move on to something actually that hits close to home as an artist and as an entertainer. So, Eben, let's chat changing ownership structures. So in Web 1 and Web 2, entertainment content has been overwhelmingly controlled by platform giants. But in Web 3, the hope is that ownership will shift from stingy platforms to creators, although time will be, the true arbiter of whether this aspiration comes to fruition. We were speaking earlier, Taylor Swift's loss of ownership over her original songs, which prompted her to re-record 6 of her albums, offers a stark insight into the broken ownership structures inherent to the entertainment industry. And in theory, Web3 can enable a world where artists don't have to fight to secure power and ownership rights over their work. What do you say to this, and where do you see us heading?
So I think that the future of entertainment is a broad spectrum. I think we have to be careful that we not think it's all going to be one thing or something else. And so, we coined one term here as the participation economy. We also think of this as a participation spectrum. And so what we believe the future of entertainment is that there are going to be people that prioritize ownership and governance. So you got one side of the spectrum, which is like, I want to get my hands dirty. I want to have a say over what happens here. I want to tell stories. I want to make content. I want to have something to do with what happens with this material that goes out in the world. And then you've got all the way on the other side of the spectrum, which is, I think there will still be a large audience for, I want to pay my $15 a month and just have access. So you've got ownership on one side, you got access on the other side, and then you've got this huge area in the middle. And this is the part that doesn't exist right now, which is how do you move along that spectrum? So if I'm a super fan of, Stranger Things or, something else, I am a super fan of Star Wars, so we'll use that. If I'm a super fan of Star Wars and I want to go from, passive audience member to having some sort of control, ownership, governance, something to say about that world, that universe. There is no way for me to do that except to go through these very, very, very narrow doors to become a kind of traditional writer, director, producer, someone that would kind of go into Disney and do that. And that creates a very, very closed opportunity for the majority of fans to actually feel like they have anything to say about this thing that they love. So I think the real opportunity and the way we're approaching this at Macroverse is to give those people a much broader set of opportunities to be able to get involved. And so whether it's truly at the creator, owner, person that's making the content side of things, or it's someone like Chris was saying that owns some characters and wants to make them available and collaborate with another set of creators, or it's someone that just wants to be a part of the community and get some benefit from participating and, hanging out and enjoying the good vibes. Everywhere along that spectrum, there's bigger, better opportunities, not just to participate as a fan, but to actually realize some value back in multiple ways through that process. So I think that opportunity to kind of find your place in these things that we love and then reap some rewards and some benefits that are commensurate with the participation and the activity that you put into it is a massive opportunity for a massive kind of shift of paradigm around all this stuff. And that's the thing that keeps me super excited.
Yeah, that makes total sense. When you put it in perspective like that, I totally see, I see the potential in that respect. And I see the participation that you're talking about because it's right there. It's tangible. You could feel it. And it really feels like it's hitting close to home. All right. We have about 2 minutes left. Chris, let's talk about these new monetization channels. So Web3 also enables new monetization channels. That's a fact, especially ones that are not guarded by these stalwart intermediaries. So traditionally, radio stations have had enormous say over which songs get airtime. Similarly, record labels are infamous for limiting artists' choice, and streaming platforms have developed a reputation for changing their discovery algorithms, and this is crazy statistics, so that entertainers are left in the dark as to how to increase the visibility of the content. The result has been that entertainers have needed to, indirectly or directly relinquish a lot of their potential earnings to intermediaries. And according to Kadeem Clark, who's the head of labs at Momentum 6, less than 0.2% of musicians earn more than $50,000 per year. A similar state of affair exists for other types of entertainers too. Talk to me about how Web3 can monetize, how Web 3.0 monetization channels can help entertainers be more fairly compensated for their work. You have about a minute.
Oh, fantastic. And this really encapsulates everything we've talked about here this morning, is the fact that the decentralized autonomous organization is one way to participate, et cetera, going forward. You mentioned about an NFT being purchased and then resold at a profit. And that's kind of, I think, what most people think about right now with Web3, buy something, a collectible, and sell it. What's happening now with the advancement of the Web3 technologies and the strategies behind it that Eben here and Macroverse are instilling is the ability to invest in an NFT that is a piece of potential IP that can be interrelated into other content, and find where you participate, writer, creator. I guess if I'm buying them and then offering them out, it's kind of agent or scout. And it's just the technology is allowing people to enter the space from wherever and whatever their desire is. And it's why Macroverse was such a pick for us. We've just highly invested in the idea, the opportunity over the last year and a half, and seeing it come to fruition. People, it's the community. It's not the control of the big box company. It's the community that's saying what IP they like. Let's cheerlead it on. So it's really interesting to see how the technology has really given more power right back to that audience on what's going to be created and which direction it goes. It's very interesting to see it all turn on its head, and kudos to Eben and Macroverse, who, from what we can tell, of it really leading the path of how this participation of all different channels can happen here in this entertainment industry.
Yeah, you said it. Power to the people. Well, listen, Another great segment. We're out of time. I could listen to both of you speak all day because you are so full of insight. And if there's experts out there in the field, you guys definitely are two of them. So thank you so much for coming on. Eben, it was such a pleasure having you. Chris, you know how I feel about you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.
Absolutely. Guys, that was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to you by CCP Digital. That was Chris Pulley, CEO of CCP Digital, along with his good friend, Eben Matthews, co-founder of macroverse.world. Please definitely check them out, macroverse.world. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CCP Digital, bringing you a view from inside blockchain, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. Introducing the latest Blockchain Heroes series, Retro Rebellion NFT collectible card packs from the Nifty Company. Available January 2022. Find out more online at ccpdigital.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams, welcoming back to my Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. We are featuring Chris Pulley, CEO of CCP Digital, and his good friend, Eben Matthews, co-founder at macroverse.world. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you, Zen.
All right. Well, let's continue and pick up this conversation. Now, the entertainers and entertainment platforms that are going to embrace Web3 will be the ones that thrive in the years ahead. And by enabling transformative change in incentives, ownership structure, and monetization channels, many have high hopes that Web3 is going to create a more equitable and empowering ecosystem for entertainers to thrive in. Now, the key is going to be rewarding fans early when they're willing to be and bet on a creator's future success and enabling them to share in the success as it's realized over time. That's what we've really been talking about. Now, in the early stages of Web3 and NFT adoption, intellectual property continues to be a conversation that really presents questions surrounding ownership, all right? And there's no question that our traditional media landscape is broken, which only makes sense as to why industry professionals are suddenly and really impulsively flocking to the metaverse. Now, intellectual property, IP, seems to be a powerful solution that can empower the industry to be better than it has in the past. Gentlemen, talk to me about how Web3 is that second chance to do things right, beginning with fixing the unbalanced relationship between creators and consumers. Eben, you go first.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is an area of immense interest and passion for me personally and for our whole team. I think, you know, the things that we've seen develop, and I think you can kind of understand why, but I think the technology has gotten to a point now where the infrastructure that exists right now, as you said, is broken, and it's time to kind of rethink that, reevaluate that. We've seen too many people that have been at the core of massive worldwide franchises, every media, type, whether that's music or film or TV or comics or anything you want to kind of point to. There's too many people that have created the things that millions of people around the world love and have seen a tiny fraction of the results of that, financially, especially. So, going back, I'm a huge comics fan. A lot of what we're doing at Macroverse is starting in the kind of reinvention of the comics world, back to the very beginning of, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby creating, things like the Avengers and Iron Man, and, Jack Kirby in particular, dying basically penniless, at the end of his life. I mean, there are just too many examples of that across all of media. And so this is the chance to right that ship, to rethink, reinvent, reevaluate how we approach these things. And while there's a need for us as creators and builders to approach this with the right ethos and to, come at it from the point of view that we are going to do those things the right way this time, the real magic of this is that once it gets locked into a smart contract and once this is immortalized at the kind of technology and blockchain level, no one can mess with it. And I think that is such a massive unlock for everyone, that it's like, I'm a creator at heart, but I've done enough business over the course of my career that it's like, you just want to get the paperwork out of the way so we can focus on, the actual creative work. But this is a way to do that on steroids, where it's like, great, we make a deal, we agree on a deal, it's locked in a smart contract, it's locked on the blockchain forever. No one ever has to think about it again. And that is such a magic for everyone in this industry. And if you project that a little bit further out, where, every time a song gets played on a streaming service, every time a comic gets read on Macroverse, every time video streams on Netflix, that transaction is codified on the blockchain and distributed to the people that it's meant to be distributed to. Hollywood accounting goes away. All the kind of, rigmarole of, lawsuits goes away, the people trying to recover the things that they believe that they should have had to begin with. This concept of the creators not being invested in or participating in the life cycle of this as it goes out and grows and develops goes away. It just handles so many of those challenges that we can get to the real meat of everything, which is making stuff that people love and that people want to be engaged in, and helping them fulfill their own ambitions. So it's a massive piece of what we're building. It's a massive piece of what the opportunity is for entertainment, and it's something we're very excited about, super passionate about.
I could tell. I love it. I love the enthusiasm. And, at the core of it, when you're thinking about NFTs, I mean, all genres and types of content can thrive as NFTs if, and this is my belief, if and only if there is deep thought and care put into the storyline and it relates, directly to the individual. Chris, what are your thoughts here about, this fixing things, beginning with fixing the unbalanced relationship between creators and consumers?
Yeah, it's exactly why I'm here and participating with Macroverse. This is really the hot button in general. And Eben, I don't know if we got to his background, but he's been eating, drinking, and sleeping the entertainment industry his entire career, at the top of the food chain and working with the top of the talent in the industry. And so he really brought light in to some of the challenges that the industry has inherently. And then the blockchain, the Web3 component, everything he just described, he's implemented. This is already working. We're already getting original IP creators locked into what their percentages are. And as things are sold, whether it's an NFT or whether it's a credit card purchase on the app in the future, it will all come back and be able to automatically pay each participant that's involved in that. And for me, it's just bigger than us. This is a chance, not just Macroverse, the industry as a whole, but Macroverse is leading this as far as I'm concerned, that it's a global opportunity to enter the entertainment industry with literally low to no barrier of entry. And so there's no excuse if you're a creator. There's no excuse now. If you find us to get in and participate, because it's just pulled the barriers down and all of the cost associated. And that's probably the most exciting part for me is we're decentralizing the Hollywood business model, making it more fair globally, and then offering a way to participate and get access where you don't have to fly to LA and risk your whole life for the first few years waiting tables, et cetera, until you make it. And so it's just so exciting because I love to help and support people. And then selfishly, I'm really enjoying the creative fun part of this business while helping the business itself.
Yeah, you definitely are. And you're definitely passionate. You're going from conference to conference, stating your piece, looking under the hood of all of these companies that you are taking on, investing and representing, really looking under the hood and making sure that the teams and the infrastructure is in place, which is never an easy thing to find in business today in general. So finding the right team and finding the right companies, it's like picking a needle out of a haystack. And you've done a great job, Chris Pulley. And turning to the next question of ownership. So we have already begun to see some of the complexities in understanding what attributes and rights NFTs carry from issuer to holder. So right now, the legal landscape is faced with these questions, forcing the courts to address the direct relationship between trademark protection and NFTs, as seen in the ongoing litigation between Miramax and Quentin Tarantino, Nike and StockX, and even Hermes and Mason Rothschild. So, much of the confusion seems to stem from what rights are actually being transferred to a holder upon purchase, begging the question of how sophisticated the underlying NFT smart contracts actually are versus what the issuer is communicating to their community. Gray waters. What do you say to this?
Gray waters indeed. So look, I think the reality is this is a very early stage of this industry. People are still figuring out a lot of kind of how these different models work. And I don't think there is any right answer to this. So I think, there are going to be different projects, different communities, different use cases that approach this in different ways. And so you've got, again, sort of, we can talk about spectrums again, but we think, there's kind of one side of things, which is, CCO. And that means, kind of there are no really protected underlying rights. And so anyone can do anything with these things. They can commercialize them. They can make them their own. They can do whatever they want with them. And there's a lot of benefits to projects that are built that way. And then there's, stuff on the other side, which is more of, I think, where we're seeing most of these lawsuits is it's more in the entrenched existing organizations trying to protect what they feel like they should keep control over. And that's something we've been dealing with way before NFTs and blockchain. It's, people doing fan fiction. It's people doing fan art. Like, these are the same kinds of concerns that existing IP holders have when someone goes out and tries to do something new with that material. And I think, the course that we're trying to chart, and we think a lot more projects will kind of follow suit in, is an interesting blend of the two, where there are areas where we want to encourage massive amounts of exploration and creativity. And, in our case, if you mint one of our characters, you can go do whatever you want with that character, commercialize it, make it your own, do whatever you want, you own the underlying IP to that character to any degree that you want to do something with it. Yet, if you come and work with us and develop a character that exists inside of one of the franchises that we're developing, that we do have a certain amount of say over what happens with, that we want to make sure has a kind of cohesive vision that can fulfill on film and television and comics and games and kind of build this larger integrated franchise. If you choose to bring your character and plug into that, then there are some trade-offs. Like, you get a lot more upside because you get to participate and be a part of this, kind of canon or official, piece of the franchise. But, we're going to have a certain amount of collaborative control over then what happens with that character. So it's like, we like to use the example of if you created Boba Fett and it wasn't part of Star Wars, well, Boba Fett could go be a, restaurant. It could go be a, car dealership. It could be whatever you want it to be. But if you bring Boba Fett to Star Wars and it becomes part of the canon, and now there are TV shows and there are toys and there are all these things under that umbrella, then now we want to be in a collaborative relationship where everybody's going to win together and it all makes sense. All of a sudden there's not, a restaurant that is confusing to the audience or to the, other collaborators. But the big unlock is in that scenario, if you created Boba Fett and it goes on to become a TV show, instead of, in that case, Disney owning 99.99999999999% of all of that creation, you would continue to have your stake in it and participate across every exploitation of that character. So that's a massive wealth building opportunity for the people that choose to really put in that participation and effort to, build that thing out. So I think those are the areas to kind of think about. And I think that, every project has to make those decisions in a way that aligns with what their ambitions are, what their goals are, and what's best for the community as a whole. And if you can kind of thread that needle, then there are lots of different ways that can work.
You got me sold. You're definitely you preaching to the choir here, because this is right up my alley. My daughter owns land in the metaverse. She's 6. She's on Roblox. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, we're out of time, but I want to thank you guys for both coming on. Chris, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. Eben, so nice to chat with you today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. If they ever wanted to be a game developer, a movie producer, or comic creator, I'd say check out macroverse.world and just see what the next generation entertainment studios look like.
Oh, it's definitely at Macroverse. All right. That was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. Now, remember, guys, under federal copyright law, there are 6 exclusive rights afforded to any copyright holder, which also include the right to reproduce, prepare derivative works, and, of course, the right to distribute the work. While most NFT holders do not have the right to fully commercialize their purchased NFTs or prepare derivative works with them, some believe that there's a way it can be done. In this case, through a royalty-free license and partnership with a digital anti-counterfeiting and copyright protection technology known as Rev3AL. Check that out for my gurus out there. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.